Hello everyone. Trying something new today. I'm going to be showing you um, how I do my mock-ups for dog portraits. So I use different tools. One of them that I find really useful for doing mock-ups for customers is Photoshop. I know that it's not free. The photography plan, which gives you Lightroom and Photoshop, is I think $10.99 a month, which turns out, or $9.99 a month, which turns out to be like $10.54 with taxes. It's just something that I use for my photography too. So when I photograph my artwork, I use Lightroom and Photoshop, and when I do my, macro and nature photography and dog photography, I use it. So it's logical to me to use Photoshop. It may be an expense that you don't want to do, so maybe you could find an alternate program. I know that GIMP is very similar, but it's free. And there's a lot of other free apps like Ibis Paint X on like your tablet and stuff. So, but I'm going to show you what I use. You guys find tools that work best for you. So we've got Adobe Photoshop here, and this is the dog portrait mock-up template that I've created. Basically what it is for people who want an 8x8 portrait, which seems for me to be the most popular size. And I think that people choose the 8x8 because of the pricing. They're like, well, the 8x10 is, more than the 8x8, and I don't want to spend too much, so I'm going to go ahead and just get the 8x8. And I think that's why they keep choosing the 8x8, because realistically the 8x8 is not the best size and format for dog portraits, because when most dog heads and chests are oblong, you very rarely get like a completely square sort of configuration. So this will be the first 3 pet portraits that I've done in actual 8x8, doing a full head and chest, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a minute. So over here on the side, I've got a bunch of layers, and I just use the same file to create the mock-up. So basically what I've done is I've taken a canvas that is 8x8, and I've added a black margin around the outer edge of it by using the rectangle tool. Over here you can see the rectangle tool. And what I do is I pop the dog images in. So you can see that I've put the dog in, I've masked off the background so I can get a really, so I can give the customer a sense of how the dog will actually look when it's completed. Obviously, it's not exactly how it's going to look, but it gives an idea of placement. The other thing that this is doing, I can print this out so that I have a reference photo to show me how it should lay out on the thing. So there's the Samoyed that I'm doing. This is a little poodle that I'm doing, and she's actually changed her mind. She doesn't want to do the harness. She wants to just do the regular fur for his chest. So this is Winston. He's so cute. I can't wait to start him. I just don't even know how to deal with his cuteness. Let's see, who else do I have here? And then this is Ellie. Is Ellie going to pop up there? No, Ellie is hidden behind stuff. Hold on a second. Let me pull Ellie's layer up above here. Hold on. There we go. This is Ellie. I'm not really sure what Ellie is. I didn't ask. So you see that all the dogs have to be slightly, I can't talk, sized slightly differently. So Ellie, she's actually got a bigger face, and I have less of her chest on here. I'm not going to depict this, the ring and the collar. I'm just going to do her chest fur and maybe a hint, the collar. I have an email out to her mom asking her if she wants a particular collar. Sometimes people want different colored collars. So let's see, let me turn Ellie off, and you can see the proportions. So Ellie's head is really big, and she's got a small amount of shoulder showing. Winston is, the perspective of his body is that his head, he's tiny, and to get him to fit in the 8x8 frame and leave the white space that I like around the edges here, because I think it's very important to have white space, I had to kind of squish him down a little bit. So you see the difference in size between him and Ellie, the way the face will be different. But I think that's just gonna give them all the different the charms that they need. Let's see. So this is the Samoyed named Fish. He's actually gone over the Rainbow Bridge. Very sad. He is a gorgeous dog. For me to get him in here, I had to really squish him down. I think for the actual portrait itself, I'll probably build out a little bit here. I'm not going to I'm gonna obviously do some different work around here. I might make his eyes slightly larger because he is a little squinty in this. I think that he's going to be interesting because I'll do a lot of crimped paper, especially around his throat and neck area, and then use a straight regular strip up here. But I can do longer strips. I think that he's going to build up extremely fast, and I think that Winston, where's Winston? I think that Winston is going to be extremely interesting to do because of all these curls on his head, of the fluffy kind of wiry poodle hair. So I'll have to develop some new techniques for that. And then for Ellie has the poodle hair around her chest area, but she's got straighter hair up on the top. So she should be fairly straightforward. I think she's going to be, her and the Samoyed I think are going to be the easiest, except for I will say that teeth, I have a hard time with the teeth because I don't know why. It just seems like trying to make the tongue look like it's going the right direction over the teeth for some reason is challenging to me. But anyways, this is how I mock it up. Now, let's see here. So if a customer wants, all right, supposing I want to do the Samoyed and I wanted to do a white frame, what I would do is I would change the, let me hop off on here. I would just change the color of the frame. Oops. I want to change the stroke color of the frame to white. So I would send a customer that white frame. Or if they wanted a black frame, I could do it like that. Or if I wanted to do like the gray frame from Michael's, I could do just a sample for the gray frame here. So that's how I do my mock-ups. It's, most people want a black frame. Very few want the white frames. I prefer the white frames personally, but I have gotten a lot of customers who want the gray frames lately. And Michael's has new frame colors out too, like the blonde and the honey brown, the blonde, and yeah, those are the two new colors. But anyways, that's how I do my mock-ups. And I will do a different video showing how I actually sketch the dog out. I do use this as a basis for it, but let me just kind of briefly show you how I do this. The important thing about doing the mock-ups is that I get a sense, the customer gets a sense of what it's going to look like. When I do the sketches, I actually go in here and use a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, because when I print it out on my printer, when I print out what I've sketched or my initial sketch using my Wacom tablet, I printed on 8.5 by 11 paper, so it's very important for me to have it on the right size paper. Otherwise, you get different proportions when it prints. I don't know how to describe it, but I will walk you through the process. Suffice it to say, I start off with an 8.5 by 11. I go in and make a rectangle. I size it for exactly 8 by 8 or 8 by 10 or whatever the size of the portrait's going to be. And then I do my sketch inside of that. So that'll be a different video. This is how I do my mock-ups. And this seems, this gives people a sense of how it's going to look as far as proportions are concerned. And it gives me a sense of how much white space I'm going to have around the edges. In this case, the Samoyed I actually may make a little tiny bit bigger and take away a little bit more of the white space. And he's right to the edge of the white space here. I like to keep at least 3/4 of an inch around the outside edge. And Ellie's at the 3/4 inch too. So I think that the only one I may resize is the Samoyed, and to do that I would just grab his layer and hit Control T, which is the transform command. And once I've transformed him, and now mind you, this is the size of the entire photo because he's part of a larger photo, I would just go here and grab, and I would use Shift to keep him. But I think that's about as big as I wanted to go right there. And the reason for this, I'll show you. Oops, it's going to take forever to transform because my computer is. All right. I wanted to keep this layer right here. Do you see where his neck, that layer of fur, hits right almost at the bottom? That's what I wanted to make sure that I kept above this level right here. So this tier of neck fur all ends right about there, which is about a half to a quarter of an inch from the bottom of the edge of the background, and that's why I sized him the way I did. It just unfortunately gives a little bit too much white space on the sides for me, but that's just the way he's shaped, so we're going to have to go with that. He would fit better in an 8x10 frame, but the customers chose an 8x8, so this is how it's going to work. I don't know how tiny he'll actually end up being in the end. We'll see. This will be the first time that I've specifically worked on dogs, especially with the chest included in an 8x8 frame, so it should be an interesting afternoon as I start getting these sketched out. So anyways, there's my mock-ups. Once I'm done with this mock-up, and I do keep the same file and I just load in photographs over and over again. Maybe I'll show you how I do that. I'll place embedded here. Let me go grab a picture of Tyson and I'll give you a sense of how I do this. Where are my Tyson pictures? Alright, so supposing we were going to do a portrait of Tyson. What I do is I embed the portrait into the space that I would have here. And in this case, Tyson's photo would fit right in there inside of the rectangle that I've already made. I don't have to go in and mask off the background, to conceal anything on the outer edge of him, but this is how I would do it. I would bring a photo in, I would place it inside this frame that I've created digitally, and then I would just send it off to the customer by exporting and then saving for web. And then I've reduced the size of it right around to about 500K, just so it's not overwhelming to their computers. So that is how I do that. I don't know if you guys want really super detailed videos about how I do all this, but I'm more than happy to go further into depth if you want to request it. Just put in the comment section, things that you're specifically interested in, and I can work through different tutorials based on that. Remember that I have switched from being just a strict, I have switched over from being strictly, just an artistic mode, like hoarding my own artwork mode, to creator mode, because I want to be able to share with everyone on my Patreon. So whatever you want for information, just let me know and I'll try to create some content based on that. Mind you, it may not be instantly because I only have 2 days off a week now outside of the weekends, so I'm just going to try to get a tiny bit of content put out once a week if possible, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much.